This guy spent 5 years training to get revenge on the 3 boys who bullied him as a kid. He transfers back to their school, ready to crush them in every sport and game they ever humiliated him in. There's just one problem. All 3 of his childhood bullies grew up to be the hottest girls in school, and every single one of them is in love with him.
Kotaro Hinode has been waiting for this moment for 5 years. He transfers into a new high school mid-semester, aces the entrance exam with a perfect score, and the first thing out of his mouth? "I will finally have my revenge." A teacher overhears him muttering about making everyone get down on their knees, and immediately gets concerned. Kotaro plays it off, but the intent is clear. This guy came back with a grudge. See, 5 years ago, Kotaro was the neighborhood punching bag. 3 kids used to destroy him in everything. Video games, basketball, wrestling, you name it. He never won a single match, and every time he lost, the punishment games were brutal. His neighbor Mizuki always had to step in and save him, which only made him feel more pathetic. So when he moved away, he swore he'd come back stronger, taller, ready to settle the score. And now he's here, walking through the halls on his first day, looking like a whole different person. That's when a bubbly girl named Akira Mikazuki spots him. She's thrilled, runs right up to him, grabs his arm and goes, "Kotaro, it's been a while." He has absolutely no idea who she is. She's acting way too friendly for a stranger, and he's completely thrown off. Then 2 more girls appear. Kanai Oborozuki, a tall blonde who casually greets him like they're old friends, and Mangetsu Shigure, a dark-haired beauty who tells him he doesn't look too bad now that he's got muscles. Kotaro's brain short-circuits. 3 gorgeous girls who all seem to know him? He pulls up an old photo on his phone, and the truth hits him like a truck. All 3 of his childhood bullies were girls. He had no idea. This whole time, he thought he was getting beat up by 3 boys. And now they've grown up into the most popular girls at the academy. Akira won the National Wrestling Championship. Kanae is a basketball prodigy, and Shigure is known as a beautiful and talented gamer. The guys at school can't believe Akira is even touching a dude, since she rejected 5 guys on the first day alone. Kotaro is spiraling. He came here for revenge, and now he doesn't even know what to do with that energy. But he doesn't give up that easily. He declares that the rematches are happening, not just video games and basketball, but studies, football, karaoke, everything. And if they lose, they get the same punishments they used to give him. The girls are shook. One of them asks nervously if he really means it, and Kotaro fires back that they can't imagine what he's been through for the last 5 years. Then he walks off and runs straight into Mizuki, his old neighbor who always defended him. She's now the PE teacher at this school. She immediately gets protective, demanding to know if those girls are planning to bully Kotaro again. But here's the twist. Kotaro tells her it was never bullying. To him, they were just consequences for losing fair contests. He genuinely didn't hold it against them. The girls overhear this. They're stunned, and then they start arguing about something else entirely. Kane, the blonde, drops a bomb. She says love is about making plans for someone without their consent, and whoever has the biggest ego wins. She tells the other girls point blank, "Don't get in my way." Turns out she's been in love with Kotaro this whole time. She even does video calls with him despite the distance. The dark-haired girl realizes Kane and Kotaro are practically a couple already and kicks herself for getting her hopes up. Meanwhile, Shigure is over in the corner, evaluating whether a different outfit would have gotten Kotaro's attention better. All 3 of them are fighting over him, and they all had the same hidden motive for bullying him back then. They just wanted his attention. Then Kotaro reveals something that makes it even messier. Kane asks him flat out if he likes someone. He lights up, says he met a girl in Tokyo and fell in love instantly. She's been on his mind every day since. He says she's the type who hates weak men who can't defend themselves, and that's exactly why he trained so hard. His plan? Graduate high school, go to Tokyo, beat her in a fight, and confess his feelings. Kane is furious. Shigure just nods like she expected it. Mizuki-sensei steps in to settle things. She tells all 3 girls that even if they didn't mean to hurt Kotaro, they still need to apologize. Then she turns on them and says they aren't exempt either. But before any real resolution happens, Akira suddenly gets way too close to Kotaro and accidentally touches him somewhere she shouldn't. Kane calls them both freaks. Shigure casually admits she's curious about Kotaro's body because it's human instinct. These girls are absolutely unhinged. And Kotaro? He's sitting there, completely oblivious to all of it, still planning his grand revenge, while every girl around him is already fighting a war he doesn't even know about. The chapter ends with the reveal that all of his so-called bullies targeted him because they craved his attention. And apparently, he also forgot he was a boy and they were girls this entire time. Meanwhile, the girls are having their own crisis. Kane watches Shigure walk away from a conversation and comments on how emotionally distant she is. Akira agrees. Dead inside is how she puts it. But then Kane drops something unexpected. She announces that just yesterday she realized she loves Kotaro more than anyone else in the world. Akira immediately loses it. What are you talking about? I love Kotaro more than anyone else too. And then Kane pulls out her phone. On it, a shirtless photo of Kotaro she secretly snapped during their basketball match. Akira's jaw hits the floor. Kane admits she took it just to mess with them. Akira screams that it's illegal. They turn to Shigure for backup, but she just sits there silently, processing. During PE class, the guys start ranking the three girls. One says Kane is the most beautiful. Another is obsessed with Akira's cute energy. A third points out that Shigure has skin like a porcelain doll. Kotaro listens to all of this, confused about why they're even having this conversation, until it hits him. There are three gorgeous girls in his class, and they all happen to be his childhood rivals. But Kotaro doesn't care about any of that. He's got his eyes on the prize. Kane, the vice president of the student council, daughter of the powerful Tsukimi concern, best grades in school, versatile in sports, walks through the halls like royalty. The class president personally praises her work, and the students gossip about how perfect they'd look together as a couple. Kane doesn't even flinch at the compliment. She's ice cold, because she's already locked in on someone else. She finds Kotaro and challenges him. Basketball, one-on-one. The gym is empty since there's no club activity, but she's got student council privileges to use it. She books the whole court, grabs a basketball, and tells Kotaro to get ready, because the loser strips. Kotaro's confused. Kane explains. She hasn't played basketball since elementary school, but she's certain she can beat him. For old time's sake, she even takes off her blazer as a head start. She calls him pathetic, tells him the higher he climbs, the more painful the fall. Kotaro fires back by spinning the ball on both hands and telling her he's been practicing for this exact moment. The game starts, and Kane is no joke. She pulls a behind-the-back pass into a three-pointer that catches Kotaro completely off guard. She's still agile, still talented. The scoreboard hits 26-20 in her favor. Every time she scores a three, the rule says the loser removes a piece of clothing. Kotaro's already lost his blazer and is down to his shirt. But then Kotaro rallies. He pulls off a fadeaway jumper that shocks even Kane. The game ties up. She insists his last shot was only worth 2 points because his foot was inside the line. He argues there are shoe marks outside. It's chaos. And in the middle of this argument, Kane starts stripping, claiming it was a 3-point shot, so she owes a piece of clothing. She slides her skirt down, revealing some very deliberate underwear underneath. Kotaro screams at her to stop. She's not even embarrassed. In fact, she admits she'd been wearing that kind of underwear every day, specifically in preparation for this moment. Kotaro calls her stupid, but Kane is unfazed. She calls it a miscalculation, because she never expected to get this excited from being touched by someone she loves. This girl planned the entire game just to get close to him. The basketball was never really the point. Meanwhile, a new player enters the picture. The student council class president, a sharp-looking guy in a military-style cap, watches Kotaro from a distance. He sees him talking casually with Kane and is disgusted. He calls Kotaro vulgar. He tells Kane she shouldn't associate with someone like that. Kane doesn't care, but the president is clearly obsessed with her, and Kotaro just became his enemy. Back at school, Mizuki-sensei catches up with Kotaro. She's still processing the fact that he's suddenly all grown up and manly. She teases him, says he hasn't fully proven to her that he's a man yet. Then she leans in close and says, "If you want, you can check it out." Kotaro freezes. This woman is his PE teacher and former neighbor. She's supposed to be the responsible one. Then, Mizuki asks him about the video call with that girl he mentioned. Kotaro lights up like a kid on Christmas. He pulls out his phone and shows her. It's a VTuber, a streamer named Fumitan. That's his girlfriend. The video calls he bragged about? He was just interacting with her via live stream chat. Mizuki stares at the screen, then at Kotaro, and she proceeds to roast him mercilessly. Here's the narration, continuing from where we left off. The three girls finally learn who Kotaro's mystery crush is. And their reaction? All three of them stare him down with murder in their eyes and scream in unison, "It's you, idiot!" Kotaro has no idea what just happened. He backs up, terrified, asking why they're looking at him like that. The chapter ends on this devastating note. All three girls still haven't realized that the girl Kotaro likes is a VTuber. They think he's talking about a real person, and they're furious that it isn't one of them. But the fallout doesn't stop there. Kotaro walks into the classroom and figures out the girls had been scheming together to extract information about his crush. He's annoyed. He calls them out, says they were trying to get intel on the girl he likes just to make fun of him again. Then he fires back. How about they tell him who their crushes are, so he can laugh at them instead? The girls are stunned. Akira starts crying. She says hearing Kotaro talk about that other girl with such a happy face hurts her deeply. Shigure calls him a fool. Kanai just watches. Even she notes that Akira, despite her tough wrestling champion exterior, is the most feminine of the three. Shigure comforts her. Don't worry, I know you're hurt. Now the three of them form an alliance. The mission: find out who this mystery rival is. Know your enemy. They agree to work together and take turns approaching Kotaro. Kanai goes first. She walks up to him in class and says, point blank, "Let's talk about love, you and me." Kotaro immediately refuses. He tells her he can't discuss something like that with someone so emotionally insensitive. Kanai is called an idiot by the other girls watching from the sidelines. She has zero sensitivity. She couldn't get any information. Next up is Akira. She's way smoother. She slides in casually, complimenting Kotaro on his new look. Noticing he's using hair gel now, caring about his appearance. She tells him it's not a bad thing, that she's doing the same because she's trying to win over the guy she likes. Kotaro doesn't catch the hint, but Akira gets close enough to peek at his phone screen. The other girls are impressed. Akira managed to sneak a look without raising suspicion. Then it's Shigure's turn, the quiet one. She approaches Kotaro and asks what game he's playing. He shows her. It's a music game that recently caught his interest. He mentions he started playing it because that girl was into it. The note clarifies. He just watched a VTuber's stream of the game, but Shigure doesn't know that. She starts connecting the dots. She leans in close and asks if she's better than that girl. She tells him to think of her instead when he plays, to give her his attention instead of that girl. Kotaro is completely confused and tells her she's invading his personal space. Kanai watches Shigure's bold move from a distance. She observes that Shigure's expression gives her away. She's acting out of character because of jealousy. Interesting. Meanwhile, Kotaro runs into a classmate who teases him about still being glued to his phone, watching his virtual girlfriend. Kotaro doesn't even flinch. He says Fumi-tan is his favorite person, that even though they're far apart, their hearts are together. He gets lonely sometimes, but he looks forward to when they can meet. The classmate stares at him in disbelief and tells him to stop talking about a VTuber like he's in a long-distance relationship. Back with the girls, things escalate. Kanai pulls Kotaro aside and starts removing her blazer, pointing out that her chest is bigger than whoever this rival is. Kotaro is mortified. She's counted that he glances at her chest every 6 seconds and concludes he's into that. Shigure shows up and does the same thing. Kotaro screams at both of them to stop. Then there's Shigure. Kanai and Akira confront her directly. Do you even like Kotaro? Kanai says she doesn't feel like Shigure is as committed as the rest of them. She mentions that Shigure struggles with embarrassing things, and maybe she shouldn't be expected to match their intensity. Shigure goes quiet. Akira asks what they even mean. Kanai drops the shirtless photo of Kotaro again and asks Shigure if she's been using it for certain purposes. Shigure says no. Akira still doesn't understand what playing with yourself means. Kanai notes that the quiet ones are always the boldest. The whole scene devolves into chaos as the three of them show up at the infirmary to visit Kotaro, who's apparently resting there. They all bump into each other at the door. Shigure tried to sneak in alone, wearing gym shorts, and got caught by Kanai and Akira, who accuse her of trying to seduce him. Shigure claims she thought gym shorts were normal. Kanai says even Kotaro would be uncomfortable seeing her dressed like that. Then Kanai grabs Shigure and declares they need to inspect what she's hiding underneath. These three are completely out of control, and Kotaro is still blissfully unaware that every single one of them is fighting a war over him, while he sits in the infirmary thinking about a VTuber. Now we get Shigure's backstory, and it changes everything. Before her parents started their business, Shigure's family was poor. She wore her older brother's hand-me-downs, got homemade haircuts from her mom, and everyone mistook her for a boy. She couldn't afford the toys or games the other kids had, so she couldn't hang out with anyone. She was painfully shy. Making friends felt impossible. Then one day, a boy called out to her. Kotaro. He was her first friend ever. They played video games together, spent time at each other's houses, and those became the best days of her life. She remembers them vividly. Kotaro getting fired up, promising to beat her next time with his favorite character. That pure childhood energy, yep. And here's the thing about Shigure that the other girls don't fully understand. When Kanae and Akira question whether she even likes Kotaro, Pointing out how emotionally distant she is, Shigure stays quiet. Kanae says she doesn't feel like Shigure is as committed, that it would be cruel to demand the same level of intensity from her. Akira agrees she seems to struggle with embarrassing things. But Shigure is fighting her own battle, quietly, in her own way. Cut to the present, it's game day. Shigure invites Kotaro to her family's high-rise apartment for their long-awaited video game rematch. He shows up, stunned by how luxurious the place is, a far cry from the house she used to live in. Shigure tells him nobody's home and to have a seat. Before he arrives, though, we see Shigure getting ready. She heard about Kanae wearing provocative underwear during the basketball match and decided to try the same strategy. She bought something on impulse, then immediately felt embarrassed and conflicted. She tells herself he probably won't see it anyway, so she might as well give it a shot. The gaming match begins, and Kotaro switches characters. He's not using his beloved Gonki anymore. He's picked a more strategic fighter to gain an advantage. He's been practicing, but Shigure is on another level entirely. She wins 10 games in a row without breaking a sweat. Kotaro can't even touch her. It turns out Kotaro is talented in almost everything. Sports, studies, you name it. But in video games, he's an absolute small fry. Shigure has always dominated him in this arena, and that hasn't changed one bit. She crushes him and demands the penalty. Kotaro asks what he has to do. She grins and says he has to do the same thing she used to make him do as kids. A headstand dance. Kotaro reluctantly attempts it. Shigure watches, filming him on her phone, telling him to shake his hips more. She's genuinely enjoying herself, savoring every second of having power over him in the one area where she's untouchable. But then something drops from Shigure's pocket. A printed photo. Kotaro picks it up and realizes it's a photo of him, and it's crumpled and wrinkled, like water spilled on it. He asks where she got it. Shigure panics. She desperately snatches it back and flees, claiming she was just visualizing her opponent before the match. Kotaro calls after her, suggesting she'd be better off actually practicing instead of staring at photos. Now here's the twist that ties everything together. We cut to a live stream. The streamer Kotatsu-chan, the popular gaming YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, is broadcasting. She wears a mask and headphones, has a beautiful face even partially hidden, and she's known for never giving up no matter how hard the game gets. Her positive attitude is infectious. Fans adore her. Today's stream is special. She's playing a fighting game and mentions she got to play with a childhood friend she hadn't seen in a while. She says it was so fun watching him get excited. The chat goes wild. This is unusual. They say it's the first time they've ever seen her laugh like this. She seems like she's hiding something. Then she does something nobody expected. During the stream, she says it's time, and she takes off her mask. The chat explodes. Her fans can't believe it. They call her adorable, gorgeous, an angel. She smiles softly while looking at something in her hands, the printed photos of Kotaro she took earlier. She giggles to herself, saying they came out really well and they'll come in handy. Then she puts the mask back on, says, "That's all for today," and ends the stream. The chat begs her not to go. In the final moments, after she signs off, she tells her audience her boyfriend is coming over, so she has to get ready. The fans lose their minds. "You have a boyfriend? That's a lie." She confirms it's true, says goodbye, and ends the stream. And just like that, the biggest reveal of Part 1 drops. Shigure, the quiet, emotionally distant gamer girl who seemed the least invested in the love war, is Kotatsu-chan. She's a massively popular gaming streamer with 1 million followers, and she just told her entire audience that she has a boyfriend. She's talking about Kotaro, the boy who doesn't even know she's a girl who likes him. The boy who's obsessed with a VTuber and has no idea that the real girl who matters most has been sitting right next to him, beating him at video games for their entire lives. To be continued.